Call the meeting to order.
Operator, yes. Burrows.
Yes.
Dalbell. Yes. Moreno.
Yes.
Vargas.
Yes.
We have a quorum.
All right, so there has been a request to amend the agenda to include the hiring of Annie Butler for elementary guidance position and the resignation of Madeline Cunningham. Can I get a motion to amend the agenda, please?
I'll make a motion.
In a second.
Okay.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, carries. And then I need a motion to approve the amended agenda.
I'll make a motion.
In a second.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye, carries. Communication with visitors, none. Carrying forward. Central administration.
Just one overnight trip to make you aware of, co-ed golf in Boone, June 2nd and 3rd. I think we're gonna have 4 golfers attending that.
Do they just stay up in Boone then?
Yes.
I mean, I'm just like, what the heck is in Boone, Iowa? Good luck.
Golf.
Golf.
Golf course.
Next thing is impact.
You're up.
Okay. Give me a second to put this slide. But I'm Kim Moore. I'm the director of Aligned Impact Muscatine County. So with me, Jasenia Christina, who is our part-time student success facilitator, and she's also a student at the University of Iowa. And the partnership between Aligned Impact Muscatine County and the West Liberty Community School District started in 2018, right here in this room. I got invited to a meeting. Brenda was also there. We had started getting state funding from Iowa College Aid in 2016. Started doing work in Muscatine. Becky was a part of some of that original work. And then we got an expansion grant from Iowa College Aid, and got invited to attend a meeting here in West Liberty to see if the school district was interested in joining our community-based partnership. We can go ahead and go on to the next slide. So our mission is to align community resources and identify effective practices for implementation to reduce achievement gaps and improve outcomes for all students and families. We have four main goals, that every child enters kindergarten ready to learn, that students are successful academically through supports in and out of school, that when students graduate high school, they're ready for college or career, and that then when people are adults in the workforce, they make enough money to be able to sustain a household. AIM is really unique. Our fiscal agent is United Way of Muscatine. They're our employer of record, but we do not answer to the United Way board. Fiscally, we do, but we have a leadership council that's cross-sector that governs our work. Brenda is a part of that leadership council. And then we have representatives from other school districts, MCC, local businesses, and other community-based organizations on that board. So while it kind of seems like we're United Way staff, we are legally, but we're governed separately, and that's an important distinction. We're responsible for our own budget. We write our own grants. We get our own funding. We're responsible for all that separately from United Way. Go on to the next slide. So I'm going to go over the things that we've done with the West Liberty School District over the past year. There's some other stuff we've done in previous years, but I thought in the interest of time, I really focus in on what we've kind of been doing the past 12 months. Our longest partnership with the school district has really been at the high school. Iowa College Aid has a program called Course to College. It's about preparing students with career exploration opportunities so they know what they want to do after high school, helping them apply to college, career training, whatever that is. We use the term post-secondary very loosely. And then finance, helping with scholarships, FAFSA, deciding like if they have multiple offer letters, what they're going to do, and then making that transition from graduation to the fall, which can be a little bit tricky. The way that we've partnered on this is we convene a group called the Post-Secondary Strategy Action Network, and it is also a cross-sector group. There's representatives from counseling departments at Muscatine and West Liberty High School. MCC is a part of the group. ISU Extension and Outreach, Latinx Outreach Program is a part of that group. And so that group really gets together and talks about what are some of the activities in Course to College that worked last year supporting students. What can we do differently next year? What's working well at one high school that maybe the other high school can learn from? And then we kind of collect data and see what worked the best, and we kind of retool it as we go. The summer melt program also came out of that group. What we heard from students was that there's no support over the summer. They don't have a high school counselor anymore, and if they haven't made a decision, they don't have anyone at a post-secondary institution to go to. So if they get pulled for FAFSA verification, who helps them? If they haven't applied yet or sought out scholarships or made a decision yet, where do they go for help? So that team really designed the summer melt program. So Jacinia is one of the mentors. ISU Extension and Outreach gives staff some time in kind. So does MCCC, even if they're not intending to go to MCC. So we have multiple organizations donating their staff time in kind, essentially, to help support students over the summer. Another role that we play in all this is we write grants for the Course to College program for both high schools, and then we house those grants, we manage them, we pay the bills, we do the reporting, we do all the back end stuff that counselors and teachers and principals really don't have the time to do. So that's another way that we support the program. So if you were at decision day and saw some of the refreshments and things like that, or at senior day, some of the things that were there, we're doing all that kind of background financing that no one really likes to do, but we like to see the things in person. So yeah, you can go ahead. We also annually, the post-secondary network convenes a post-secondary workshop annually. This was our 3rd year of doing it a few weeks ago, maybe. Because the action team really recognized that sometimes we need other people's perspectives and people with more authority in the room to make some of the decisions. So what that group does is they go over county-wide data, and kind of all those various areas I just mentioned. And then school districts get their own data then, but we don't give other people, other school districts data. We feel like it's up to them to share it. But we look at data at a county level, and then we start talking about what's working now, and what is working, what isn't working, and then talk about scaling it. So for example, the strategies for academic success program that you guys have as a part of your partnership with EICC, that's something that has really been talked about a lot. Of the data showing a lot of promise in that, and some of those conversations have helped that program stay or expand to some of the different schools. So that's another thing that we host in partnership annually. And then I'm gonna let Jacinia talk about some of the new stuff we've been doing at the lower grades.
I was helping out with their 3rd grade elementary activities. Before I helped with this, I got along with the board to talk about what they did since I was new. So I talked with the ISU, what they did previously, as well DCI and Muscatine County Conservation. They said they heard a lot of good things from the previous years, that students love to interact with the various things, right? Because students like to be very hands-on with activities. I also talked to the teachers if it was something they wanted to do again. They said that they would love to have the students to be very excited over these activities. So I help organize this because I know some teachers can have a lot of things on their plate. So I helped schedule that. And so the first thing that they did was they had the ISU come in. They did, what was it? I think it was they did
little coding bots. I forgot what they're called, hex bots.
Yeah, the hex bots. So they did they had a paper that was structured like Iowa, and they did little courses with was it those straws that are flexible? I don't know what those are called. Then they outlined it, and then they had the hex bugs do the little courses. So the kids enjoyed that. I saw various pictures with the kids, like mind-blowing expressions. So that's you can see the kid over there with his hands over there. So the kids were really excited for that activity.
Your son. Yeah.
Oh,
Well, that's good.
You look like, yeah. And then what the second thing that they did was they had the county conservation have aquatic animals to learn about biology and stuff like that. The kids also love that, of course. I know students would rather hands-on and look at the animals rather than look at a little video about it. They also had DCI come in to learn about immigration. They learned about the culture, the process of immigration, also showed money to the students. They're very fascinated over that. So, and what else did they do? I think that's it. And I know that the kindergarten also had, what was it, motion?
Force in motion.
Force in motion. Another thing that I did was the youth force for the high school students. So we got this grant from Volunteer Iowa that they can do a project for some 9/11, the students came up with an idea of doing animals, so stray animals. I asked them what was the concern in the community. They said they saw a lot of stray cats all over the community. They didn't understand where the stray animals go around. They didn't, since there's no things sheltered here in West Liberty. So then I asked a guest speaker to come in, which was Eddie Ortiz, an events officer, and he explains that he's the one that handles the animals and that he has close partnership with the Muscatine Humane Society. So that's where all the stray animals go to. And then the importance of vaccinations, because animals can get put down if they have like rabies. If they don't even have rabies, some animals get put down even if they don't have rabies. And then they were shocked because some animals get put down and their heads are amputated and sent off to Iowa City. They were like so concerned with that because there's like the poor animals, if they're innocent and don't have vaccines, like they do have their vaccination, they're just killed. So they want to do an event night to inform the community the importance of getting animals vaccinated and having them on leashes, so that doesn't happen. So they decided to also donate to the Humane Society. So they made boxes like that one that says Animal Dono, short for animal donations. They did like 3 boxes. They put it around the high school for students to donate, participate in it. And they're organizing other things for that special event, which is going to be on 9/11. Oh, they were on community boards such as the what was it? The symphony, the dream catchers, and what was it? Oh,
There's LULAC,
Diversity service.
diversity
yes,
services.
and then I think LULAC and the chamber. And the library board, and there, last year we had some on the county fair board also.
Okay, I don't expect you guys to actually be able to read this. I just wanted to show the complexity of the data system we're trying to get built. So we are working on building a countywide shared data system. So this is a partnership with all 3 school districts. Student data goes in. We do not see personalized student data. It all complies with FERPA and all that. We have lots of forms signed. But really the goal of this is to be able to get the data from each different district student information system, and each of them use a different one, which makes it exceptionally more challenging for our vendor. And then start pairing that with community-based organizations client lists. So we can really start seeing not only our county trend line data, which is important when we think about how we're doing as a community, but we also can start looking at how are we getting data to community-based organizations for them to be able to make good decisions in the interests of students and families. Typically, businesses have access to really robust data systems and dashboards, and they're making decisions all the time. Community-based organizations don't have that luxury really whatsoever. And we think it's really important to educate community-based organizations and give them the tools to be able to make decisions for students and families, and also be able to go after additional funding sources because they're going to have the data to back up that what they're doing is right. So an example of a community-based organization that we could look at once it all gets together for West Liberty is Dolly Parton's Imagination Library. That's free books for kids, birth to 5, countywide. United Way is the fiscal agent for that. Well, the real hope is that it's not just about kids getting books, right? It's about kids getting books so they're ready for kindergarten. If they're ready for kindergarten, then they're on track for 3rd grade reading, which means more likely to graduate from high school, all those sort of things. So the hope is that we're eventually going to be able to get to the point where we're seeing what's working, or at least providing community organizations with tools to see maybe what's not working so they can make decisions. Because we know community-based organizations all want to make a huge impact on students and families. But community-based organizations are really good at working with students and families, probably not Excel. We want them to be really good and spend their time with students and families and doing what they're good at, and we can help them be able to build their data capacity, and we can be the ones more spending the time on that and helping them in that way. This was just kind of to show you when people ask why it's taking so long, like that's why it's taking so long. It's a lot of pieces of information trying to go together. that's our contact information. Do you guys have any questions for us?
How's the, I mean, I did kind of hear rumbles of like some cuts to United Way funding and stuff in Iowa. Has that been like, I mean, maybe less funding, or is that been a problem with you guys, or you foresee anything coming your way, or?
So United Ways in general, like across the county, because workplace campaigns with remote learning aren't what they used to be. Most United Way campaigns are down. Ours is no different. It's not as bad. We're like less bad. But the United Way campaign doesn't impact our funding because we're responsible for our own budget and funding streams and things like that. So.
I have a question. I come first. So my granddaughter gets the Dolly Parton books. And when she comes over, we read them. Actually, they come to us.
Oh.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. So we babysit a bit. Yeah, so it's a really good program. I guess I'm curious about, everyone says data, right? And then with that data comes a narrative that you alluded to when you start applying for grants. What would you assert as the narrative for AIM?
Well, I mean, our narrative is really all about having the community work together to improve outcomes for students and families. So I mean, our intention with the data is to really highlight what's working, who's working together, how it's going. And then for internal organizations, the ones who are being onboarded right now, they're making some decisions about what is their own data that they want on their dashboard. Every community-based organization is going to be built Power BI, which is a Microsoft product. We've moved away from Tableau. I don't know if anyone's a data geek in here and cares about that minutia. But we're moving to Power BI. So they're going to be able to decide also like what of their own data do they want in there. So the Latinx outreach program at ISU, for instance, they also want attendance at their different events built in. So some of the data usage is going to be an easier way for their own internal reporting and probably won't be an external message. They were one of our kind of pilots in marrying data together. We also get National Student Clearinghouse data. So they've been building a message around our students enroll in post-secondary education at a higher rate than the average population because of X, Y, and Z that we do within our programs.
That's like Soler Adelante.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then it builds into that's the junior high component, and then it builds into a 4-H club at the high school. So it's
So you
multifaceted programs together, which that's what they want to start tracking, because some kids just do the junior high program, some kids just do the high school program, some do both, and they want to know, like, does it work better? But they don't have the tools to do that without this.
So you collect their data and then send it back to them? Is that what you're saying? Like that you collect it and then you gather it and then you guys kind of send it back to them to do what they want, or do you guys?
It gets put in the system.
Just gets put in the system?
And then we build for them like a dashboard that starts to
Okay.
pull it out how they want to view it. So
Okay.
some of the data is school district data that's like right behind the scenes that no one sees, but it's matched, like the student clearinghouse data, for example, or if they graduate from high school, stuff like that. Which they can only get in aggregate. So any of the school district data, if it's like less than 10, it's removed. They can only see like percentage of or counts 10 or more. But then their own data, they tell us how they want it to like come in a usable format for them. So they're not like tallying their spreadsheet as far as attendance to what. So then it'll build in how they want like their attendance reports to look. Did that answer your question?
So it's kind of like, so you customize their own
Yes,
dashboard
yes,
for them, and
yeah,
then,
it is
but
all
they have to submit,
customized.
but they
Yes.
have to submit theirs
Yeah,
and for
yeah,
you to get
and we-
accurate accounts
Yep, and we help them build a collection mechanism.
so that they can submit it
Mhm.
for you. Are they your biggest, I mean, what are some of the other places that you're collecting from? Do you partner with, who do you partner with from West Liberty to collect data with?
So I asked our data manager this, I said, what current data sources are countywide? Because I can't remember all the programs that are countywide right now. The current ones that are being worked on that are countywide our Imagination Library, the youth boards, that's just West Liberty that Justinia mentioned, Special Olympics, Girl Scouts, LSI, that's like a lot of, we're like really honing in on their 0 to 5 visitation programs, public health and kids first. Those are the ones right now. We'll build more as time goes, but those are the current ones. That's West Liberty. That has West Liberty students in the data. It's not all married together yet.
So Kim, if say Dreamcatchers came to you and said, hey, can you help us with the data? Or
Yeah.
Lulai? Yeah, because this year, over close to $40,000 was given out in scholarships through those two programs. And, you know, we have data, but you could help us put it together in a dashboard.
Yep.
Okay, great.
All right,
Questions for us?
anything else?
Oh, one last one. So they have this thing called, this term called summer slide. Do you used to have a program for that, right? Or do you?
Summer slide, when, you know, students, like if you look at their, I'll just use FAST scores, right? They tend to be higher, like spring 3rd grade than fall 4th grade. There's that like slide. Summer melt is students who intend to go on to post-secondary. They say that when they graduate, when they fill out their, you know, state required senior exit survey, they say they intend. And then when they show up in the fall, they don't. Depending on the year, countywide, 10 to 20%, probably even a little more post-pandemic now, who say they intend, don't show up. And that was why we developed the summer melt program, because we heard about things like FAFSA verifications, not understanding offer letters, not having decided, and now I want to go somewhere, like kind of all those things happening the summer for derailing kids. So we've built that program to try and help with that.
How much of that 20% is they just changed their mind, and then how much is some sort of roadblock out in the way and they didn't understand what they were supposed to do, or they got confused and just gave up? Like,
Yeah.
because that would be the part that you catch, right?
Right. Yeah,
those.
that's a really good question. We surveyed seniors right after they graduated last year, countywide, sent postcards out. Didn't get a great response rate. Not as bad as I thought though. And it seemed to be a lot of like, I didn't fill out my FAFSA, I didn't apply, I didn't understand the process, seemed to be a lot of it. Which the schools have worked really hard, and I think even like stepped up their game even more, which is hard to believe. Doing the course to college to really make it very explicit what needs to be done. We're actually, one of the things we talked about is we're gonna do that postcard survey in the fall instead, once kids have actually made their decision, right? Or when they're actually, is it working full time? Is it going somewhere? Because we also recognize the landscape of post-secondary education, the workforce change. Like that was one of the things that we feel like changed the fastest for students after the pandemic. So there's so many jobs where students are getting hired and they're getting very valuable on-site training that's going to lead them to a job, I mean, paying better than a nonprofit employee, right? Like a great decision. And that doesn't ping in the National Student Clearinghouse data, but it's extremely valuable. And that was one of the things we talked about at one of the round tables for the post-secondary meeting is how do we start building partnerships with employers to start gathering some of that workforce data? Because we know that going to community college or a 4-year college is not capturing all the career training that's out there now, in the same sort of way, and we have a gap there. So one of our first steps is we're surveying later, but we're still going to be asking all those questions, like if you had intended, what got in your way, so that then we can design backwards to help mitigate that.
That's great. Any other questions or comments? Awesome, thank you both.
Thank you.
Next item is the approval of the tanager contract for 24-25. Current recommendation is to renew services with tanager. Thanks, Caleb.
Good job.
You guys.
Nice job.
This is a third-party therapy service that is offered to students. It's paid for from Title IV allotment, so at-risk dollars.
And this is the position that's currently still in the elementary and middle school, and then we're shifting gears. The tanager person will be full-time in the middle school just due to some increase in needs that they're seeing. And then we've added on that full-time counselor. And I think we had that half-time counselor, half-time tanager, we're going full-time tanager at the middle school and then full-time counselor at elementary.
I think we covered this, but if they don't, because it says that they, for the paperwork for tanager, but I think we covered this, that if they do not get state funding, we provide some type of grant or something for the kids if they don't have insurance. Or is that then they go to the other counselor and not see the tanager person?
I
Well,
think that that's income-based, isn't it? Or like need-based for the support.
Well, because it says here that they help them secure documentation to be approved by state managed, organized, like assist in securing documentation on my page, just went away. But one of the jobs, like our responsibility is to help insist on and securing the documentation of this, having the insurance. So then I was like, but we did say that if they didn't have insurance, that we had grants, right, that help kids get services.
yeah, I think we have some, I think our liaisons help, with that.
So they would just see somebody besides a tanager place. The only people with insurance can see tanager place people. Is that what you're saying? Yeah, is that right?
I think.
I think that's right. I'm just making sure. I mean, that's good. I figured we have other people they can see, but I think with tanager, they have to have insurance is probably my guess. Cause they probably bill that.
That sounds right. And it says in there as well, they have to have a caseload of 25 students per full-time person. Otherwise, we pick up some of that rate. And I think we don't have any problem at all filling that 25 person caseload. So if they are requiring the insurance, we have
We'll find enough for 25.
enough to fill
Yeah.
their little caseload.
And we do have enough counselors that then the ones who don't, we could see another counselor.
Any questions, comments, concerns beyond that? That does require a motion to approve the extension
Move
of
to approve.
the second.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Carries. Next item then, I'll read the whole thing. The memorandum of understanding for IJAG, again, another continuation, it's a 12-month renewal. The program, this is the third year. At a cost of $25,000.
I think AgJag is a good option too, because just case, I mean, it's just another leadership opportunity for students. It does, and it has like a lot of, I don't know, I've definitely seen some and heard some good things about it, so.
Very hands-on project.
Hands-on project-based stuff and a lot of activities.
Yeah, I had a question too. Were we on this voting? Are we?
Yeah, we're talking about IJAG, yep.
Yeah, I was just looking at this progress, this report here. And it has classroom employer visits 15, workplace tours 0, individualized experiences 0. I guess I'm curious about the classroom employee visits, who's coming and what are they seeing from that? Because that's an important part of this program. You know, Brenda?
Yeah, Meredith works with the students to sort of explore what their interest areas are and then would invite employers from those interest areas for the students to, for those students, I just don't want to be on camera. To be able to explore the careers that they have some interest in. So that's some of it, and then some of it is, so some of it is local, but some of it might be countywide, some of it might be further out than our county. So I know they've had the hospital from Geneseo has come to talk about careers there. Some local, I think, Lisa Wurzbacher from Wurzbacher Services has been there, so it really varies on what the students are interested in. Some, and then just also pushing them a little bit, so have you ever thought about, so trying to get some, yeah, and then I think, just for your information, that report was put together by Miranda, who is Meredith's supervisor, so I might argue that some of those zeros are not really zeros, so.
Yeah, it's heavy on the data too, right? And so do
Yeah.
they, do you get reports and does it help with does it share with the whole school or does she just keep it locally? What does IJAG do with all of its information that they get?
So part of Meredith's responsibility is to report data to IJAG as a whole. And so that's, I think, where this information comes from is Meredith working, but also Meredith was off for a time here recently. So I think Miranda pulled a lot of that data. So, but otherwise, Meredith is part of like our comment supports team. And so she works very closely with the whole faculty on moving kids who are at risk, whether that be for attendance or academics, all of that. So her data is our data. And our data is her data, so. Did that answer?
Yeah, it's just that you are able to access it, use it if you need to, and it'd be another source of information if you need to.
Yes, and IJAG helps with some of what Kim was talking about too. So some of that summer melt and following the students and, helping them complete their FAFSA and apply to college. And so IJAG works very closely and in tandem with a lot of the other college and career readiness that we do at the high school.
I believe our second, maybe first or second, I think it was second year, we were awarded, that program was awarded for their success. So in our district specifically. Good note. Anything else from anybody else? That requires a motion to approve the extension.
I'll make a motion.
In a second,
I'll second it.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Carries. Athletic complex change order number 9.
Part of this is a refund. There's those greenish handhold boxes that are basically ground level electrical boxes. Like one got hit with a skid loader or something when they were moving some dirt around. It was more cosmetic than anything. We had an electrician look at it. He said there's nothing wrong physically with the mechanical inside of the box or the inner workings of it. It's just the case got kind of scratched up, dinged up a little bit. So they're like, we can give you a refund or redo the box, and the lid still works, the box works, so I just told them to take the refund to counterbalance a little bit of the upgraded gate costs here that we have. So we did the dugouts, as you know, we did the dugouts ourselves, so we couldn't be real precise on the measurements of the fencing at that time. And so once the dugouts were completed, then we could add in gates between the dugout and that. Well, there's some cement on both sides of the dugout, so add in a little gate system on basically all of the dugouts. So that is what that upgraded, excuse me, upcharge is for the gates.
Have you gotten any feedback on the facilities of the softball and baseball field that going well, like people?
I think players love it. I think we have bleachers out there today. So at first seating was a little tight. We had one home game, so there's a lot of people there at a baseball game. There wasn't bleachers at that time. We had just gotten the cement that we added on. We were holding out on some of that just to see how that grass filled in, see if the weather cooperated. Weather cooperated for growing grass, but not for sitting in, setting chairs on that dirt and mud.
No.
It's pretty dry out there right now, but anyhow, yeah, things are just slowly coming along there. doing a lot of the little final touch-ups. So it was nice to get some bleachers out at both fields. People can sit around the fence
Are the bleachers
tonight.
permanent bleachers or are they?
Those are portable. And so that was part of the holdup in getting those out there was Jeremiah Smith and Brian, our maintenance crew were, they're like the MacGyver show, you know, they can come up with about any silly solution, to anything. And so they attached welded wheels and a system to the bleachers so then they can be easily pulled from wherever they need to go, from, you know, from one area to another. Some of them were out at the fairground. So well, now they can just hook them to a lawn tractor or whatever, and just wheel them wherever they need to go, or whatever it might be. Sometimes we'd have students grab them, pick them up, you know, carry them where they needed to go on. This just makes it a lot more convenient.
Were they the ones that used to be like the pep band, used to say, or like the band,
They
or
were
the
more-
ones that,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
like the band at the end of the, yeah.
And they were the ones over at the baseball, softball fields.
Reusable.
So we'll see how the seeding goes, you know, we'll just monitor and see if we need to add any more or not. I think once the grass fills in, we intentionally, you know, have the fences a little lower, so, you know, you can stand there and see over them. You're not looking into a 6-foot fence. So I think people like sitting in lawn chairs, sitting around the fields, spread out a little bit. So, yeah, it's getting tested tonight. Baseball doubleheader, softball doubleheader, and then 2 different soccer tournament
Fine.
matches.
Yeah.
The guy that works best under emergency.
Yeah, right.
Need a life or death.
Yeah.
I thought the story about the Penn State team looking to our facility was pretty cool too.
Yeah, for sure. I really need to host them.
Yeah, it shows the quality.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right, with that in mind, can I get a motion to approve change order number 9, please?
I'll move for approval.
And a second,
I'll second.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Carries. Consent agenda.
All right, the usual, all included in the packet. Notice I did include that one resignation in here for Madeline Cunningham, first grade, and then also under new hires, that addition for Amy Butler for elementary guidance counselor. Otherwise, any other questions on any of those?
Hearing none, I need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion.
And a second,
I'll second.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Carries. Future agenda items. The next board meeting is Monday, June 3rd.
Oh, I don't know why that says 5. It's supposed to be 6.
At 6 p.m.
Must have
This
been
was
5
Eastern
last
time.
year.
This is Eastern time here. So we'll have the superintendent review, board policies 800, 802.8, first reading. And then establishing meal prices, preschool tuition, registration charges and the like. So, and then the 23 audit report.
And before we adjourn, just want to say a huge thank you. It's School Board Appreciation Month. So lovely certificate there from the School Board Association, as well as a plant from our FFA plant sales. So please take a plan on your way out, and just thank you all so much for what you do. It's a huge task, big job to lead a school district, and we greatly appreciate everything you guys do for the student, staff, and the community of West Liberty. Thank you all.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Wow.
Right. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
Second,
1 second.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye.